All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is June 10th. Happy Saturday to everyone out there. We got a large MLB slate to jump into today. We're going to go through each and every game like we always do. I'm going to talk about the game, give you my lean or leans on the games, but all my final plays will end up in the pinned comment one that I'm actually going to be rolling with. So make sure to keep an eye on that pinned comment as I update it throughout the day. Always having the plays in by game time, of course. In terms of last night, we go 3-3. We did hit the Cubs. Even money, plus 100 there, which is kind of like a battle cry for us. So the Cubs stay alive in our mind here. But yeah, 3-3 night. It's not going to kill us. Doesn't help us all that much. Let's do a little bit better today. But again, it does not kill us here. This first game that we're going to look at here, we're going to get right into it, is going to be Detroit taking on Arizona. Detroit actually slight underdogs here, not heavy underdogs. They're only plus 115 right now over on DraftKings at home. Yesterday going into the game, they're like plus 130 or so. So a little bit of a switch there. Arizona wins this one 11-6 yesterday. I think that went about as you'd expect. Arizona prior to that had been on a tear. They did drop a couple games against Atlanta, but Atlanta's a good team. Other than that, Arizona was kind of rolling. Not the best of competition, but nonetheless, I kind of saw this win coming here, and I'm going to lean towards Arizona again today, but Detroit did show a little juice yesterday, so keep that in mind. Then in terms of a total, we're looking at a total of 9. This is where I like this lean. I think I'm going to look at the over in this game. Two pitchers on the mound that don't really scare me whatsoever. You have Matthew Boyd on the mound for the Tigers, a 5.57 ERA, and then Ryan Nelson on the mound for the Diamondbacks, a 5.4 ERA. In their last couple starts here, neither one of them have looked all that great. Boyd did have a decent 5 innings pitched, 1 earned run start, probably one of his better ones of the year against the White Sox. But prior to that, he had a 6 innings pitched, 5 earned run, a 1.5 whip, only 5 Ks. So I'm not going to say he's on a roll. And then Ryan Nelson letting a bunch of runs left and right. So I do think that this is an over spot for both these teams. And I just realized we did not get to the ride of the day coming in from Matthias. Probably wishes that we forgot it. It was Ellie De La Cruz over 0.5 bases. Does not come through. He does have a single, but that's where it ends there, unfortunately, guys. If you do want to be the ride of the day, all you got to use is hashtag ride of the day in the comments and throw a banger play my way. I'll be jumping on board with one person's play, and then I'll give you guys a shout out, win or loss, in the next video. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button too if you have not yet. Guys, we're racing towards 25,000 subscribers, so if you could hit that subscribe button right now, it would do a lot for us over here on the channel. Go ahead and hit that like button as well. You guys have been running up the likes as of late, and I haven't even been asking for it in the video, so maybe I don't need to pander for likes. But let's go ahead and keep it moving here. We got the White Sox taking on the Marlins here. White Sox getting the win yesterday, but like I said, I'm just going to start leaning towards, I think, probably where the money is, the slight underdog in this series. I think these two teams are fairly evenly matched. And on the mound today for the White Sox is Michael Kopech, 3-5, 4.33 ERA. And then Sandy Alcantara on the mound for the Marlins. Usually you'd be like, okay, last year I should say, you'd be like, Sandy Alcantara on the mound. Oh my God, we got to bet the Marlins, right? Not really. He has not been pitching all that well. He's 2-5 on the season with a 5.19 ERA. In his last few starts, it just has not been it. Against Oakland last start, 7 innings pitched, a 5 earned run spot there. The whip he did keep down low and 7 strikeouts. So even when he's not allowing runners to get on and whatnot, he's giving up the deep balls. He really is allowing a lot of runs. You just can't trust him as of right now. So I'm surprisingly in this spot. If we looked at this game a couple weeks ago and had the same sort of, less context, I should say, I'd probably be like, oh my God, Marlins minus 120 all day long. But this White Sox team's playing decent baseball here, plus 108, some decent value. I'm going to lean in that direction. If it becomes a final play, keep it on the pinned comment. I don't know how confident I am in that, but I do lean in that direction. I think that's where the value is. And then we're looking at a total of 8 runs in this one. Yesterday's game, low scoring game, 2-1. I think this one sticks right around that, low score. I don't think it's going to be 2-1 again, but I would probably say, maybe a 4-2 or a 4-3 type ball game. So I'm going to lean towards the under ever so slightly as well. All right, Cardinals taking on the Reds. Reds plus 1.5 was one of our plays yesterday. That does not come through as they lose at game 7-4 on the mound for the Cardinals today. We're looking at Mike Mikolas, 4-2 with a 3.74 ERA. Andrew Abbott on the mound for the Reds. He's 1-0 with a 0.0 ERA. Only one start, I believe, this season. It was last week. 0 earned runs through 6 innings pitched. A below 1 whip with 6 Ks. So it looked pretty good. I will say this Cardinals team, They grind out a win yesterday. They're coming off the win against Texas, in which they grinded that out 1-0. Maybe they're starting to turn it around. I think, minus 165 is telling. It's showing that Vegas does think that this is a team that should win this ball game, and I think that's right on the edge of being able to pay that juice if we do make it a final play. So I'm going to lean towards the Cardinals. Maybe the Cincinnati sort of streak of, I think they won, who they played before the Dodgers. Whoever they played, they won that last game of the series, and they took the first two against the Dodgers. Then they lose the last game. I think that people thought that they were on a streak. They got a young team, a couple new kids looking really good, but I think that kind of ends here. I'm going to lean towards St. Louis, and then also taking a peek at the over ever, so slightly at 8.5. I could see yesterday's game being replicated like that, and that was an 11-run total, so I'm going to lean towards the over as well. All right, Blue Jays taking on the Twins. We are recording early. We don't even have an opening line for this one yet, or a total, or money line. Blue Jays don't know who they're pitching. Joe Ryan is on the mound for the Twins. They got the win yesterday, 3-2. Depending on who's pitching here for Toronto, I lean Toronto if they have someone, serviceable. If it's a no-name schmuck or whatever they decide to do here, I don't think that is a fair lean. I'm going to lean towards Minnesota there. So it really does depend on this Toronto pitcher. I don't necessarily know who is due up or who their options are as of right now. I haven't dug into that yet, but I do think that this is a good spot for the Twins if it is a pitcher that is less than Joe Ryan, which there's a damn good shot there is. So I'm going to lean in that direction. I also look at the under in this game. We don't know what the line is yet, but if it's like it is yesterday, it was at 8.5. I like that spot. Toronto, yes, they can score a bunch of runs, but they have not been scoring a bunch of runs. And Minnesota, as we know, have not scored more than I think yesterday was like their highest scoring game in their last 7 games prior. So not a lot of runs to be expected in this game, especially if they trot out a pitcher that is a good pitcher. All right, Colorado taking on San Diego. San Diego gets a 9-6 win yesterday. We just weren't willing to pay minus 200, but today could be a different story here. Padres, minus 130 at home. They are the clear-cut better team. Weather's on the mound for them. He has not looked all that great. Only 1 2/3 innings pitched last start. Went 4 innings the start before that. Freeland on the mound for the Rockies, who obviously I think has the name, but nonetheless, I think the odds there and the values there for San Diego. We're going to lean in that direction. Then we have a total of 12 runs. Yes, yesterday's game goes over. I don't know if the bats stay hot for either team here. I'm going to lean towards the under, but again, I'm kind of like a Colorado Stadium truther. I don't believe in the altitude, which you guys rag on me for in the comments, but I don't care about the altitude. You still got to make contact with the ball, and the Rockies aren't always the best at that. And San Diego, sure, they just scored a couple, high-scoring games. Before that, squat. They're scoring 1 run like it was their day job. All right, Pirates, Mets. Pirates coming off that 14-7 win yesterday. Wish we had made that a final play. We did not pull the trigger. Avledo on the mound for the Pirates today, 3-4 with a 4.29 ERA. And then Senga on the mound for the Mets, 5-3 with a 3.75 ERA. I think this is going to be a spot where everyone jumps back on Pittsburgh and says, they've been on fire. And they have. I'll admit, they haven't had the hardest of schedules here. Taking 2 of 3 against San Francisco, who I guess I can give them credit for, but then they go and sweep St. Louis, but St. Louis is and was kind of in the dumps there, right? And then they only win 1 of the 2 against Oakland. So they've been up and down. They're hot, and then all of a sudden they, again, lose the series against Oakland. Kind of weird to me. I think this is a spot where they come back down to earth. I'm not saying this game's going to be a 17 or 14-7 game in the other swing. I don't think so. I think this one actually ends up being an under type of a game, but I think the Mets pulled this one out. So I'm going to lean towards Mets. Minus 125. Those are some decent odds over there on FanDuel as of right now. And then I like the under 9 runs as well. All right, guys, before we jump to the rest of the slate, I do want to talk to you guys about Outlier. I've been preaching Outlier in damn near every video over the last month or so, and rightfully so. Like, this is a legit product, guys. It's become my go-to resource for my sports betting research. I got to talk here, right? And it just allows you to bet on sports a little bit smarter. You have way more context than you would if you're just kind of looking at players' historicals yourselves and digging into numbers. This puts it all right in front of you in a very consumable way. Let's go ahead and just actually show you guys. This is their player prop sheet, and you can see all of these hit rates in the last 5 games, last 10 games, last 20 games, head-to-head, this season and last year. Their implied probability based on the percentage, which is really cool to see. You can see the odds at where they're offered on sportsbooks here. So if we wanted to say, okay, anything, the minimum odds here would be minus 150, we can dig into this. Okay, Zach McKinstry, under 1.5 bases, kind of looks pretty good. He's hit this in 5 of 5 in 9 of his last 10. Let's dig in and look, because the odds aren't all that bad. Minus 145 right now on the sportsbook you can see where they are, and this will take you right to the sportsbook if you choose to do so. Like if we want DraftKings, you click this and you can either continue in browser or pull it up on your phone and scan it, and then look at this, guys. It's really cool. It's going to put that slip into your bet slip on DraftKings. If we were logged in, we could go in and place this right away. We don't have to go dig for the bet or anything like that. Very cool. But yeah, you can go in and look at his historicals, how he's done against left-handed pitchers, right-handed pitchers. So where is he? Down here. Let's see how he is against right-handed pitchers who he's facing today. He bats right-handed pitchers a little bit better, so maybe we stick away from the under 1.5. You can look at alternate lines. It is really cool. They have the game tabs as well. You can go through each game on the slate and do a similar thing. But guys, I highly recommend you checking out Outlier. I have a link for that in the pinned comment as well as the description if that makes it easier for you. So make sure to go check that out. It really is worth it. I would not push something if I didn't really believe in it and use it myself. Green is good, red is bad. That's been my mantra with this app, and it's helped a lot, guys. Just follow the trends and look at the odds and, you know, the matchups, and you're kind of golden. So check it out. That link is in the description and in the bio and in the pinned comment. All right, Phillies, Dodgers. I knew there was something a little bit weird about those odds yesterday. Philly goes out there and wins 5-4. In my brain, there's like no reason why they should have been at that odds. They're at you know, kind of like a pick 'em, which they are again today. So it's a little fishy to me. I know this Dodgers team has been struggling, and that's probably the main reason here, whereas Philly's been rolling. But I just want to say, you know, when you see these odds and you know the Dodgers are a better team, even though Philly's obviously coming off a good year themselves, I do think this Dodgers team is better. So when you see these odds, it's almost like a stick away from the game type notice to me. So I think that this Dodgers team gets the win. I think they bounce back today. They need to start winning baseball games. They're 36-28 on the season. Like, that is not Dodgers baseball. This Phillies team may be starting to turn it around and get back to good baseball, but they played Washington, then Detroit. And yes, good win yesterday, but even on the 6-game win streak, I think yesterday was probably their first good win, in my opinion. So I'm going to lean towards the Dodgers to bounce back here. In terms of a total 9 runs, we saw it at 9.5. Yesterday it ended at 9, so the under ended up hitting. And I do think, you know, given the pitching on the mound, Nola on the mound for the Phillies, 5-4 with a 4.3 ERA. Bobby Miller on the mound for the Dodgers, 1.06 ERA and a 2-0 record. I think they can manage the offenses here. I think this could be, you know, a game that has a lot of big plays in it, but still sticks under. So 4-3 is sort of my prediction here on the Dodgers side of things. Maybe like a 5-3 type game too. 5-4, maybe that would result in a push, but I do like the under. All right, Orioles squeaked this one out against Kansas City yesterday, winning 3-2. Now on the mound for them, as they're only -155 favorites right now, which actually does kind of scream value. But Cole Irvin on the mound, who's got a 10.38 ERA this season. Singer on the mound for the Royals, who he's not much better, but he is coming off of one of his only good, I shouldn't say that, but is one of his better starts this season. 5 2/3 pitched, 0 earned runs, 0.8 whip with 7 Ks. But it was against Colorado, who I don't necessarily consider one of these valuable offenses. So this is a tough one here. I do think that a lot of people are going to be on the Orioles because of, like I said, it kind of screams value right away. -155 against the Royals team that isn't good, and the Orioles didn't even look that great yesterday, yet they still went out there and kind of did their thing, winning 3-2. So I'm actually going to kind of flip on this one. I'm going to lean towards Kansas City. No way it's going to be a final play, I can tell you that right now, but I do think the public pick today is going to be Orioles because that looks like a consumable number. Then we have a total of 9 runs. I guess I have to lean towards the under here. Baltimore's offense, I thought they were going to turn it up yesterday. They didn't. They really haven't in the last few games. They have a couple 8-run games here and there, but other than that, it just hasn't been happening. And then same thing with Kansas City. They're like averaging over the last 10 games somewhere in the, I think it's like the high 2-point somethings in terms of runs scored in their last, like 6 or 7 games. Had it up earlier, but yeah, so neither one of these offenses really cooking right now, so I'm gonna lean towards the under. All right, Atlanta taking on Washington. Atlanta squeaking out the win yesterday, win 3-2. They aren't really that bad to the run line either, so that was actually a rarity. They had covered as favorites at -1.5 in 5 games prior to that, and in 6 of their last 7 prior to that. So I do think that this is a good spot to get some plus money on Atlanta run line. I don't love them on the money line. I do think that they'll win, but -180, -185, just too much juice to be paying. So I'm actually going to take a peek at Atlanta on the run line today. I think the fact that you're getting plus money for a team that if they're going to win, they're probably going to beat you by 2 runs. Not that yesterday would be an indicator of that, but I do still stand by that. So I think that this is a good spot for them. When they swept the Mets, they covered their run line in all 3 of those games, and when they took the last 2 of 3 against Arizona, they covered their run line in both of those games as well. So this is a team that's able to cover the run line. I like the Atlanta Braves here, -1.5. In terms of a total, it's at 10. That's a really tough high number because I don't really see, I didn't see why yesterday it was set at 10, and it was, okay? And they didn't come near it. The fact that Vegas has the cojones to go out there and throw a 10 spot up there again in terms of a total with, two serviceable pitchers on the mound today. Gore, one of the better ones for the Nationals. Schuster on the mound for the Braves. Not going to say he's that great, but, throwing out a total of 10 is a little weird to me, so I'm going to lean towards the under, but something about it is suspicious. So, and it's tough to also, to be fair, I'm taking them on the run line in terms of my priority lean here. It's tough to be like, oh yeah, let's keep this game under with no chance to run away with it because it'll kill the under as well, right? So, I do still think that this is an Atlanta winning by 2 type spot. And then my secondary lean would be the under, which the under could hurt if that hits. It could hurt our run line. All right, Tampa Bay taking on the Rangers. The line, or I guess I should say the value, definitely has kind of swung in this one. It opened up at Tampa Bay minus 132, and now we're looking at Tampa Bay minus 108, and it is pretty much a pick 'em over on FanDuel. Texas's odds are also minus 108, and it kind of makes sense to me. I don't think Texas should be an underdog in this game. Yes, they lose yesterday. Yes, we had them plus 1.5, and they did not come through, but that was really a value play. That didn't end up valuable here. But Tampa Bay is going up against a good pitcher today, Nathan Eovaldi. I do trust him. 8-2 this year with a 2.24 ERA, and then Taj Bradley on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays, 4-2 with a 3.60 ERA. I think the first team to kind of get off to the races, just like yesterday, is going to win this game. I think it's going to be Texas today. I think Eovaldi's going to be able to control this Tampa Bay team, and they take the win. So I'm going to lean towards Texas. I do kind of wish they were underdogs again and we were getting some value because, I like that spot in the plus money, but we'll take minus 108 odds over on FanDuel. Then in terms of a total 8 runs, while I'm talking about how I think Eovaldi's going to keep this Tampa Bay team in check and everything, I still think there's going to be a decent amount of runs scored in this game. So Eovaldi could go out there and have a decent start compared to what he's been doing, right? Like last game against Seattle, 6 innings pitched, a .17 whip, 7 Ks and 0 earned runs. That is absolutely crazy. He can go out there and do, maybe a little bit worse than that and still have a good game. You know what I mean? Like his last one against Detroit, a 1.4 whip through 5 innings, 4 Ks, no earned runs. As long as the runs get there to some degree, Tampa Bay's a better offense than both those teams we just talked about. If Tampa Bay can go out there and score 4 runs and Eovaldi still has a decent start, right? I think Texas is going to get off to the races here and score at least 5. So that'll hit the over there at 8. And hopefully we're speaking it into existence because I do like Texas as well as the over pretty heavily today. Brewers taking on the Athletics, and this A's team is just crazy, man. 3 straight wins. Not like they're, I don't know how to explain it. They're not like playing the hardest of teams to beat, but beating Pittsburgh 11-2. Then beating them 9-5, and then beating Milwaukee yesterday 5-2. Maybe this Oakland team is just hot right now. I think everyone's going to be on the Brewers to bounce back, rightfully so. They probably won't lose 2 in a row, but I think people said that about Pittsburgh in the games 2 and 3 of that series, so I'm crazy. I'm looking at that Oakland plus 158 odds right now and saying, maybe it's a little worth it. Maybe it's a little worth it. I think that they could go up there and win it. So I'm going to lean towards Oakland. I don't know if I can make that a final play and actually stick to my guns here. I think I might be a little bit more bark than bite in this pick. But yeah, I think that Oakland has a chance to win it. And if you have a chance to win it and you're telling me you have plus 160 odds, might be worth pulling the trigger. Then in terms of the total, we're looking at 9. It was only a 5-2 ball game yesterday, but this Oakland team actually scoring some decent runs in their last 5 games here. 5 runs scored, 4 runs scored, 11 runs scored, 9 runs scored, 5 runs scored. So they're averaging a decent amount of runs put up. Milwaukee, that's where the struggle is going to be in this game. Are they going to score runs? They've had a couple big games, 10-run games, one against Cincinnati and one against Baltimore, both in the last 10 here. But other than that, not really scoring runs. So I am going to assume that Milwaukee kind of gets a few more runs than they normally, or than they have been, I would say. Going up against Paul Blackburn today, I don't think they're going to have any issue getting to him. Last start was a week ago, and he had 5 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, almost a 2 whip, and 3 Ks. Like, I think Milwaukee will be able to score on him, but I think Oakland's going to go out there and also be able to score on Teheran here, who, obviously is a good pitcher, but I think if they're going to get on base, and this is going to be a high-scoring game. So as crazy as it is, I think we can trust the Oakland offense at least one more time. So I lean towards them as well as the over. But again, I sounded that cycle alert alarm because I'm probably the only psycho in the building thinking that. All right, we got Cleveland taking on Houston. Guys, this is one of our winners from yesterday. We had a nice little Cleveland spot there, and they end up taking that win. The final score was 10-9. Good ball game. Whoa. Cannot speak this morning. I haven't had any coffee yet. But before we get into the game is what I was trying to say, not back. Guys, go ahead and hit 19. Drop 19 in the comments if you are still watching. We're 19 minutes into the video, or just about. So if you guys are still watching, cannot thank you enough. Drop 19 in the comments. It's starting to be a thing too. I like that we do this every few videos. I don't want to do it every video because, you know, how many minutes are you in the video right now? Drop that. No. We're not going to do that. But when I do ask for it, I love the support you guys show. And you're like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm still watching 19 minutes, probably 20 by the end of this rant in the comments. You know what I mean? So it means a lot to me. And I say it all the time. But for you guys, the new ones that are hearing this for the first time, I always see people dropping, you know, for example, today it'll be 19 in the comments, right? And then people are like, why the hell are there so many 19s in the comments? And I'm like, fake. But the real ones stick it through the whole video, and I can't thank you guys enough. You guys are the true real ones. Yeah, so hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet, and drop 19 in the comments. Go ahead and do that. Let's jump into this Cleveland and Houston game, and I'm gonna lean the same way I did yesterday. We looked at Cleveland yesterday. They got the win. Obviously a good game, but I expect that to happen again. JP France on the mound for the Astros. He's really hot and cold to me, in my opinion. His last start here, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 0.5 whip, and 3 Ks. That's great, right? Start before that, though, 6 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 1.7 whip, and 8 Ks. So he's just like a roller coaster of a pitcher to me. McKenzie on the mound for the Guardians here. I think he only has 1 start this year, which was actually a good start. 5 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 0.4 whip, and 10 Ks. Maybe goes out there and does it again. I'm leaning towards the Guardians. I think that is the value play. It was tough to look at Houston for plus money and say, no, okay? Like, they are a good ball club. Starting to get guys back from injury as well, which is good. But yeah, it's tough to look at them for plus money and say no, but I think this is another Cleveland spot today. And then in terms of the total 8 runs, over. I think this one's going to go over. This Cleveland offense is starting to heat up. There's no doubt about that. And though Houston has been inconsistent, at any given moment, they can put up a big number. So I like the over today as well. Even with 2 decent pitchers on the mound, I think that there could be some blow up potential on either side or both. All right, we do not have odds out right now for San Francisco and Chicago. Chicago getting our win yesterday. Send the cheers, the applause. That was a big one there for plus money on the Chicago side of things. It was plus 100, so even odds, but love to see that. If they're underdogs with Kyle Hendricks on the mound today, you can probably sure as hell bet that this is going to be a final play. If they're like minus 120-ish or, you know, further, I don't think that we pull the trigger. Brebby on the mound for the Giants, and Kyle Hendricks on the mound for the Cubs. So we'll see where these odds come out, but yeah, I could see myself rolling with the Cubs again. Maybe they're hitting a little hot streak here. We shall see, but I'm just like you know what, I'm like a groupie of betting the Cubs. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, if they're underdogs again and we get plus money or even odds on them again, yeah, I'm taking it, guys. And I will say, just on the last game, when they're blank on the graphic like this, it's because we don't have odds or the total or the money line odds out yet. Like, I saw a comment a couple days ago being like, you left that game blank. Why? It's like, this is just a depiction of what information we have. These are not my picks or anything like that. So I've never really walked through the graphic. To me, it's self-explanatory, but I got to understand that there's people out there that see this and go, okay, are you taking the home team for every game because it says home money line? That's just to give a sense, and I hope it makes sense to most of you, but that's just to give a sense of, you know, the game, the odds in the game, so who's favored, who's an underdog. If it's a plus number for the home team here, it means that the away team's favored, right? And then you also have your total runs scored there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that I think the game's going to get to that. It's just sort of the line that we have set. So I know that's probably like no duh Ev to most of you, but I have been getting a lot of comments of those, so I did kind of want to explain it here. But let's move on. We get the Yankees taking on the Red Sox here. Red Sox win 3-2 yesterday. I wish we made that a final play. They were plus 135, and everybody in the comments was like, you're an idiot, you're taking the Red Sox. Usually we get like the homer and bias comments when I'm talking Celtics basketball, but yesterday I got some of those as well. And, you know, like I said, Garrett Cole can go out there and throw a good game like he did, and the Red Sox can still win this game, which they did. So kind of surprising there. Do I think they run it back and do it again? I don't think so. Not today. I don't think they take 2. They probably should have lost yesterday. The only thing that I do like is, you know, I'm kind of a non-believer in Domingo Germán for not any real reasons, but I just don't necessarily think that he's the most consistent guy. So if he goes out there and has one of his good Domingo Germán days, then sure, he'll be fine, right? But if he goes out there and has one of his bad ones, like when they played was it St. Louis or Seattle a couple games ago, and let up 1 million runs in like 6 innings, then the Red Sox have a good chance. But I do think that the Yankees come back and at least have a little bit more of a little pep in their step when it comes to the offensive side of it. I do know the injuries they're dealing with, obviously, like Judge, for example, makes it tough to be able to score runs, but nonetheless, they still have bats in that lineup regardless. So I like the Yankees in this one. And in terms of a total 8.5, I think there's going to be more runs than yesterday in today's game, but that doesn't necessarily put it over. So I'm going to slightly lean towards the over, expecting this to be a more offensive ball game, but keep an eye on the pin comp to see if we pull the trigger on that. All right, Angels taking on the Mariners here. Worked out for us yesterday. That was one of our better, heavier leans, and LA takes the win 5-4. Went just about as expected here. Sandoval on the mound for the Angels, a 4.14 ERA, and Brian Woo on the mound for the Mariners. He's got a whooping 27.0 ERA. Obviously kind of just skewed by 2 innings pitched, 6 earned runs in his only start of the season. I don't necessarily know if this is a crazy play or not, but I'm going to lean towards the Angels. Like, no duh. There's nothing telling me why anyone would be taking the Mariners in this spot. So, no pun sarcasm intended. We're fading fast, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this video. Obviously, this is kind of a clear-cut lean in terms of why we're leaning this. The only thing, and I'll be honest, I kind of think that this could be a play that, yes, I'm leaning that way, but I don't pull the trigger on because I think it's almost a spot in which everyone's going to see that 27 ERA and be like, who the hell is this guy? Brian Woo! It's like, what? But that was just one bad start for the dude. You know what I mean? Like, he could just come back and pitch well. That is one bad start, and it's making his numbers here look terrible. So maybe it's a little too public to just be all over the Angels in this one. Or maybe Brian Woo goes out there and does a bad job again, So I'm going to lean towards the Angels. I don't know if I make it a final play because I could easily see the Angels being like a way heavier favorite in this, and they're not. So, yeah, keep an eye on that. In terms of a total 9 runs, yesterday's game gets right there, does not go over though. I think that we could see something like a 6-5 type finish today, or a bunch of runs scored. So I'm gonna lean towards the over ever so slightly though. I don't like this spot or this game as much as I did yesterday, but yeah, keep an eye on the pin count to see what we end up rolling with here, guys. And that is gonna wrap it up for today's video. Up early on a Saturday after a late Friday. Hope you guys don't mind some of the speech impediments that I threw out there today, but yeah, hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. As always, peace out.